Alright, welcome to Nero's Definitive Super Auto Pets Power Ranking for Animals Mark II. The ant's still getting the, 50. So, here. Now, we get Badger. Badger is good for one thing. Badger is good for honey badger strats. Other than that, Badger is good for ultimate memes. So I'm gonna put you in the E tier. Ultimate memes are hilarious. I love it. But Badger is mostly good for ensuring that a loss turns into a draw, or ensuring that a draw turns into a win if you honey it. So that's fine. But it scales really poorly because dealing multiples of the amount of damage of its attack to your unit and the one that they have usually is a losing proposition for you. Can you play around it? Yes. Most of the time, is it worth it? I'd say generally no. Beaver. Beaver is a B tier. Because it's a beaver? Yes. Also because if I see it in an early shop, right, it's fine. It's a 2/2 that doesn't do anything interesting. Other than that, it may actually drift down to a C. But the reason behind it is mostly useful for its cell condition. Like if you get shrimp scampi builds, which I'm stealing from Northernlion because it's a great phrase, then you can buy stuff and sell it, and it does something mildly good for you, which in the early rounds is hard to find scaling stuff. So sometimes that will be good enough. But most of the time it is an early unit. Early units get a bigger score than pretty much everybody else because they occur early. And if you put a buff on a beaver and it's like a 7/7 on round 3, you can just carry that to the end of the game. And that the only benefit of that is that it comes out early. The Badger comes out a little later, and also it receives buffs poorly. All right, the Bison or Buffalo, I don't know, whichever you are. All I know is that if you have a level 3 unit, this guy scales himself. This is very useful. It is something that scales itself. You do not have to do anything about it. That can be very convenient. Getting a level 3 is not impossible, but it is difficult. I like exactly how difficult it is, and also because I think it's a Buffalo or a Bison, it's going in B tier. However, I think it goes in the upper B tier, because it scales itself. It could be considered an A, but I do not think so. Cat. C is for cat. No, we're not going to do this many times, but this one is very much, yeah, it should drift down, shouldn't it? Because it's a situational pick. You pick it up when you want to buff using food, especially if you want to do something fancy, like if you get an early cat, you grab the cat, and then you can twice. That is +8/+8 to all future shops. And if you're still trying to find a build, which is not impossible, right? That's not bad. However, yeah, let's go situational. D for dang cat. Alright, the Blowfish. The Blowfish is not a B. The Blowfish is I'm going to call it D tier. Because the Blowfish, its sole refining quality is the fact that it's like a 3/5. Yeah, it's got a ping effect, but I don't care. It appears early. The Blowfish? Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I got it for D. Yeah, but it's just bad. The thing is, it does, and dat. Oh, I like that better. It's useful for pinging things, but pinging is not useful in itself, especially when random. And as a result, the ping doesn't matter. And while it's great for memes, don't get me wrong, great for memes. Because if you put it, eventually we're gonna get to the hedgehog, and we're gonna have a conversation about where, power differs from awesome. So, it's fine. It's not great, it's fine. It does whatever it needs to do. I have picked it fairly seldomly, which is my example. Squirrel. You can come up with squirrel if you want to, however you want to pronounce that. But squirrel is useless. You can fill your your shop with food. As it turns out, what food are you looking for? What food is going to save you? The answer is none of it. Typically, you want animals way more than you want any specific food. So this is garbage. It is garbo tier. It is nonsense. It is nothing. It is useless. Goodbye. Good day, sir. The cow. Squirrel. That'll work. All right, squirrel. Squirrel, or sorry, the cow. The cow is going in B. No, the cow's going in A. All right, so here is the benefit of the cow. The cow is for 3 gold, +2/+2 on 2 or 1 target each. I know that I phrased that too awkwardly, but basically what I'm getting at is +4/+4 divided into 2 chunks. And that can go wherever you want it to. Typically, you always want it on the same, or you will want it on the same target, but you can want to divide it sometimes, like if you're trying to get the last of a 50-50, like 48-48 to a 50-50, and then you switch. The cow is great because you buy it and then you sell it, so it effectively costs you 1 slot and 2 gold for +4/+4. That is really good. Yes, it is later in the game, so maybe this will drift down to the top of B. That may happen. But it is something that I've almost always, if I have a slot available, then I'm usually pretty jazzed to see it. It won't save you, but it certainly will help. Especially when you first can get a hold of a cow. If you get 2 cows in a shop and you rotate out through, that's 4 gold, 8/8. That generally will win you a fight. Alright, so we've reached our first S class. This is a crab. Why is the crab good? The crab is only good if you have a unit that can support it. However, it's really easy to get a unit that can support it. Like, it's really easy. Generally you will try to scale a singular unit as you go through the game. Like, you've seen how I played. Now, it's possible someone else has a better strat. Okay. As far as I'm aware, you tend to scale 1 unit. Scaling 1 unit means it usually has a lot of health. It's not very hard to just put the crab behind it and be like, yes, at worst, it's a, like, 320 or whatever it is. Even if that's not good, it will, be equivalent to usually your opponent's second best dude. And if you put on meat onto it, it gets 5 more attack, which means 8. Again, at base, it'll be like 820 or whatever it is. In which case, it's usually a lot better than your opponent's second best thing. And it will trade with 1 or 2 things, which can be enough to win you a fight. So, like, this dude be legit. The cricket. I'd love to put it in C. I hate the cricket. The cricket is very, very early. The cricket is the second worst early game unit, I think. We may come back to that, but basically, the cricket is bad. It sounds like it should be a 2-3, because it's a 1-2 and a 1-1, but it's not. It's not even decent enough early, though, because if I fight you with a 2-3, which remember is usually my goal, it has extra troops, that's a problem, though. I play 1 fish, which is my goal, and you die. I play a beaver and oh god, I've forgotten the word. And an otter, right? And you die. It's like, it's bad. It's just bad. Like, it's one of those things where having a 3rd point of health on anything renders it useless. And it is useful in a certain context, which is if you have horses, which we will come back to, but read, not a good idea. Or if you are facing specifically, and do duck next. You know what? Welcome to my stream. Just for you, we'll do duck next. But we're finishing with, I do not like the cricket. Alright, the duck. There, are you please? It's not S, but it's close. You know what? I'm gonna do this. Because the duck, right now, is something where you concede 1 or 2 health out of your pool, right? And you can get an astonishing reward. Like, if you get 1 duck, then you have, like, an okay shot, not a great shot, but, like, an okay shot at eking out a draw or a win. Right? And, like, typically you'll still trade about 1 health because you took a duck. If you get 2 ducks or more, that means that you will lose 2 health, almost for sure, and then you may not lose the next 5 rounds. And, like, I kid you not, that's pretty good. Because I've several times had 2 ducks coming out of the second fight, set up my shop so I leveled things up, and I got, some decent units. Not even amazing things, just like a swan, for example. And then 1 other thing. one other of the leveled up things. Sold all the ducks and bought up. There's stuff like I've just gotten a dog, right? It's just been a dog in the shop, and then I sold 2 ducks and bought it. Actually, the last round, I'm pretty sure what I did is I froze a duck, then I sold from the last round, sold 2 ducks, bought the duck, sold the duck, bought the dog, and then like just bought 1 or 2 other things and then froze like the hedgehog. And we just 10 spotted that game. So like, it was pretty good. It's something where it's one of those like, this is nerf-worthy good. I know some details of the next patch, and you can bet your boy here is getting nerfed, and Duck is getting nerfed. So, you know, deserved. This may ink up to S tier just because this may be nerfed. Anyway, all right, we're going to Crocodile. I'm putting it at the bottom of E, not F, because I have played it. But I've only played it for 1 fight, and that's pretty much what E is right now. Crocodile. It'll deal 7, I believe, to the last thing, and that is useful for certain things like the fly, like if they've got a turkey. But it is a tech choice, and so because it's a tech choice, it's going to be at the bottom. It is a late-game tech choice. Its stats suck. I've played it before when I've had a spot free, but, you know, it's not anything I've ever taken on purpose. Like, alright, deer. Doe, a deer, a female deer, etc. I would have, like, a month ago, I would have put this solid B tier. It is not that anymore. I'm gonna drift it down to, you know, put it into the D tier. And the reason being is it does have some good uses, right? Having a free unit that has the chili pepper effect, i.e. hitting the second unit for 5, can be quite useful. It also has a summon, which can be useful, and it has 2 deaths and 2 attacks, for sure. Which means 1 synergizes with the shark, 2 synergizes with the kangaroo. These are things that will help you out. I think of it kind of situationally. Like if you're running on fumes and you drop a kangaroo and a deer in front of it, you have like an okay setup. It's not good, but you have something. And that's kind of what this tier is about. Dodo. Alright, Dodo is also in nerf tier right now, but Dodo is good mainly because of what it can do with another animal. Dodo giving attack matters to an extent, because it can give it to the rooster, which right now is the most insane combo that we have available, and also because sometimes you don't have a rooster and you turn a garbage unit like I've got a swan in the back that's whose goal is to give me gold. Not to fight, it's just, you know, that. Sometimes you have a rockin' dodo, yeah, and you just turn it into, like, cool, you have 2 units that will die on their first attack, but will generally trade with anything you're up against. Sure. It's also something that appears early enough where it's kind of easy to scale, right? So, Dog. I hate the dog. I really hate the dog. I don't like it. The randomness makes me unhappy. So as much as I want to put it down there, we will put it in A tier again. The reason being is it's a unit that scales that you can get access to on turn 3. It scales early. That's it. That's why it's good. It actually is going to get a boost over here now, because it scales early. That's it. It does enough. Yes, you're going to be summoning units. It's just a thing that you're going to be doing regardless. As a result, it's good. I need to make a note of this just because I want someone else to see what's in my mind. If you take a look at the parrot, it is, it looks like the Chrome logo to me, just because it's drifting off screen, but I need someone else to see that. Alright, the dolphin. The dolphin, to me, is a better crocodile because it happens earlier than the crocodile, but it's about the same, right? Where it's like, it's a counter card. It is a thing that you use to get rid of someone else's something. And like, yeah, it comes out earlier, but you weren't gonna scale it because it comes out later than you would like for that. And like if you get it a turn early by, you know, leveling up a unit, sure, you're not opposed to it, but it's not great. It's just a sure fine. So it still gets the kind of sure fine treatment. the dragon. This is going to get D for dragon. But I'm going to put it below the cat because, yes, you can make this work. However, it is situational, and at best, it's a, like, cool, you'll pop it in and do some rotations, but wide scaling right now is bad. Is the dragon bad? Yes. And the reason being is that the dragon's effect is when you buy a a tier 1 dude, it will give 1/1 to all your units, which is lovely, except for the part where wide scaling is bad. 1/1 to 2 things, right, that you're saying are particular, is fine. The rest of them, it doesn't matter. So it's one of those, like, keep in mind, if you are trying to spread wide, it doesn't matter as much as making it particular. You'll see what happens when we get to the monkey. So, I'm like, it's fine if you have a swap them out meta going, which is to say you've got a dog, maybe you've even got a goat. You can make this work. I just don't think that the dragon's that good. I also don't see it that much because, as it turns out, when you get tier 6 units, you're mostly locked into what you're doing. And, you know, like, yeah, it scales stuff, but it requires 2 slots. It requires you to sell 2 things, which is not always easy at that point. The elephant. The elephant also gets the E tier, but it gets, I think, below. The reason it gets the E tier is it because it's elephant? Maybe. But it's also because it's a 3/5, and that's it. Its effect is bad. Yes, dealing 1 to the unit behind it. Oh, you can do the thing with the blowfish, or you can do the thing with the camel and the blowfish, and it's not that good. It's not good. It's bad. It's a bad idea. It's not good. It's a meme, right? So it's cool. Most of the meme things are going to be an E. But, like, it's not good. This is going to go the bottom. Docodile, the reptilian doctor. I like it. This is going to go the bottom of D. And the reason it's, like, just barely is that it is useful to summon builds. Actually, I think it's going to go earlier than this. It's going to go here. It appears early enough where you can use it in a summon build. I don't like summon builds, but you can. And sometimes it's a 6x. Like, I know that's not good, but sometimes you buy something for 3 that's a filler so that you can move on with your day, and it's a 6x. That's not bad. I think I've convinced myself it's the first of our Cs. Yeah, good luck with that one. Alright, this one. You will not enjoy this. This might be the top of A. You know what? We're doing it. We're doing it. Where's the guy from earlier? I'm sorry that you weren't here, probably left. It's okay, I understand. We're making the swap. Duck goes top. Duck will go right to the top, and fish is the top of A. Why? Anytime I see a fish on the first round, gold. Straight gold. Gimme it. It's a 2/3. Everything else it does, I don't care. It's a 2/3. My boy Northern Line has in fact convinced me of the value of stats. It's got stats. The fish. And, by the way, it does buff your other stuff, which, like, can matter, but, you know, I like the fact that the duck is so good, but your abbreviation was suck. Alright, now, you'll get C. You're at the bottom of C. And the reason is sometimes I will pill the flamingo, and it will give 2 1/1s, which is not good, but it's fine. It's good enough. And sometimes you just stick it in the front, and you go, cool. Most of the time it doesn't trade, but it'll damage enough, and maybe it'll make a trade better. It's not great. It's fine. You're a fly. The fly by itself is bad. But it goes in B because it goes from bad to insane very quickly. If you put a fly in the back of your build, sure, sometimes it will matter a little bit, most of the time it doesn't matter, sometimes it backfires on you. You put a turkey back there, or you had a horse that you for some reason carried with you, we'll move this to the top of C. Suddenly it goes insane. So it's kind of one of those volatile ones where if it is by itself, which is not really a viable thing to rate by because these don't appear by themselves, it kind of gets like an E treatment. Like, it's kind of a meme. It's not great. But with anything else, it goes up. Duck's already up there, boy. Flyby, the more extreme version of a drive-by. I like it. The giraffe. The giraffe is better than people give it credit for. But it's not good. I like the giraffe. Why? Because you can hold a giraffe for 1 or 2 rounds, buffing a thing that's gonna stick around. And that's a couple of extra strats that you get for free. And generally, you have more spaces than you need on rounds like 3 through 7. That's the thing. Do you hold on to it for long? No. Do you level it up? Almost always no. You just, like, stick it in, like, you just have a fish that you got with some decent stats, you stick the giraffe behind it, and you let that be for a couple of rounds. It's fine. The silverback is just behind the crocodile. You know what? Just in front of him. So here's my reasoning. Basically, it has a coconut shield. What's the value in that? The value in that is if you scale it up, then you can give it melon armor, so it smacks. Then, if it trades with something, it gets a free shield, so it can trade several times. However, it's a tier 6 unit. I typically will have been scaling a unit from tier 1 or 2 or 3. By the time this comes around, it's very hard for me to scale it. It doesn't scale on its own, and it means that I have to put it somewhere and put effort into scaling it. It's too late. It's too late. This one. Okay, so here's the thing. The Hedgehog is undoubtedly one of my favorite units. It's very bad. Why? It is early, typically a worse version of the honey badger. It's just a badger, but the badger. Because it's just like a draw fodder, like trying to help you create a draw or get a win by using a honey. Okay. Later on, it's terrible, because the 2 effect is not good. It just means generally you can reduce the melon armor on things, which is like fine, I guess. So yeah, it's not great. The hippo. The hippo. One of the anti-token strats. I love the hippo, and my opinion of the hippo is that it's gotten worse the longer I played it. The hippo is great because it responds really well to scaling. It's still early enough where you can get scaling onto it, but the transition will cost you a round, probably. And it's very good because it'll just eat things. And what I mean by that is, if it uses the effect, right, of you beat something, then it'll buff itself. If you're facing a token build, it can eat most of the token build before they've gotten to full turkey strats. Afterwards, you know, it's just a big unit. The other thing, though, to keep in mind is that after a certain point, the effect of the hippo no longer matters. Like the fact that I have a 50-50 fish or a 50-50 hippo doesn't matter. There's no difference. Like, yes, you get 4 more health, but the 4 health almost never matters. So, like, who cares? It's mostly something that if you get it at exactly the right point and fight the right build, it'll pop off. Otherwise, it's just a unit with like a decent ability. I think it's fine. Horse. No. I agree with Northernlion. I think he's overdone about it. But I agree with him. Which is basically that because the horse is a 1/1, it will lose you a fight against a duck. And in the early rounds, you can maybe squeeze out 1 win. Remember, when you've chipped off 1 health of your opponent, or 1 of your own. Nah. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've never picked the horse in front of you, or if I have, it's been very reluctantly. No. Horse is very bad. The biggest thing is just that it's a 1/1, and that means in the early fights, when each of your units generally has to fight for itself, Yeah. It's not very good, no. So it gets the bottom of the F tier. Sorry. The bottom of the F tier for the horse. Kangaroo. Kangaroo gets the top of B tier. Get out of my way. You'll get the top of B tier. Why do you get the top of B tier? Because you pick up a kangaroo and you stick it somewhere. That's like no buffs, nothing. You just stick it somewhere. Good enough. You stick it in front of you, like behind your second best unit. You estimate you'll get 1 or 2 attacks out of it, and it does fine. It's good enough. When it comes out, it's good enough. And sometimes you can scale it further. Stick it behind stuff like the deer, as aforementioned. It's one of those, like, it is good enough. Mass times acceleration. I like it. Okay. Alright. This guy. I don't remember... Leopard, whatever his name is. It's just double the effect, right? Double the effect. Double the effect is one of those conditional things. So I'm going to put it with the conditional things. And it is good. And it gets really good when it pops off. And otherwise, it's just kind of fine. Like, you just don't pick it up. My example is, stick it behind a dodo, and you get more dodo procs. Sure? I mean, I guess. It's generally not that good, but that's fine. Stick it behind, oh, I don't know, a rooster? Oh boy, we're popping off. You go from 1 to 2, or 2 to 4. That is a lot of roosters in the way. Not bad. So yeah, conditional, right? It's a very good conditional, like, pops off pretty hard, but eh. Alright, the Mammoth. The Mammoth, you go in conditional as well, I think just in front of the Dragon. Why? Because, yes, giving your whole board 2-2 is great and all, but have you considered the part where 2-2 is not large enough for a singular unit, and generally board-wide buffs are not good? So, like, it's eh. Like, my favorite thing is when I see it with a pill, and I just go, cool, I gave +2/+2 to 2 units I care about, and I have a free slot left. I guess it cost me 4, but, you know, fine. Bull and bison were 2 different things, yes. The bison is beautiful. Alright, the bull is much better, though. So, this gets the very difficult, like... Yeah, I'm pushing the ant further down the ranks, I think. Oh, that one's hard. Anyway, the monkey gets the second best. Why? Because your first unit is typically your biggest, because that's generally the best way to go. Giving 2-2 to that unit is a free pair, which is worth 3 gold, the amount you paid for the animal the first time. And if you put in one monkey, like monkey in the back, right? It pays for itself. And if you keep it there, it'll keep paying for itself. What that means is if you won your round, right? You manipulate a round like, yes, you've lost a slot, but you keep gaining stats for free, and you keep gaining them routinely over rounds. Which means, generally, if you're winning, you'll keep winning. That's very good. It just is like, usually your first unit is your biggest unit, which is what you want to scale the most, and sometimes you'll get to do things like the triple monkey strat, where you've got nothing going for yourself. You have 2 units, like one of them, let's say, is a bison, and then you have a front unit, we'll say, is a fish. And you just really need stats. You just go monkey, 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 bison, fish. That's it. And then you just stack the stats. Yes, you could combine the monkeys, but you would lose stats that way. So instead, you just really full out grease the wheels, go. And that is one way to eke out wins. And it's something that, if you play smart, you can get a lot out of. Alright, this guy. This guy is potentially the second best early game unit. Potentially. Might be the third best, but it's very much up there. Why? Because a 2-3 is better than a 2-2. The 1 damage randomly can just net you a win sometimes. Which is pretty important. At the end game, it's an early game unit. It doesn't matter. Its whole benefit is that it was there since the beginning. That's what early game units do. The Otter. I love the Otter. The Otter probably gets the bottom of A tier. Because its 1/1 buff can come in really handy. And you never keep it around. Generally, right, you can stack it up, and the stack can be good for, like, free pairs and things. But... or random pairs, I suppose. But most of the time, it's just you buy it and then you sell it, and you're good. So, like, it's very good. I love seeing it. Doesn't matter that much. Now, we're definitely loading up the A tier. Yeah, we're going with this. Now, why would I put the bull here? Because, one, pilling something in front of it gives it melon armor permanently. That's very good, because one, it's rendered immune to random damage, and two, the buff will stick with it. That means that for the pill, right? Yes, you have to pill something, but for the pill, you got +2/+0 and melon armor. And then, when it comes back, right, or it's in the fight, it'll get 2 more. So basically, it's a 5/5 dude, or 5/4, whatever, with melon armor. Which, in a couple of fights, can be great. It's early enough to be scaled. Generally, you're probably not going to scale it. But it's good enough where it will help you win some fights. And I love that. So I think it belongs there, or top of B. Meh. The Barret. I don't like it. It's gonna go behind that. It's a unit that requires very, very late in the game. It copies an ability for a combat. Typically, what ability are you copying? You're not gonna have scaled it, it's too late, so it's not like you want to copy a hippo. Like, let's just look through. In combat, what's it gonna do? Maybe you could make it a crab, but, you know, it would just be a crab. There's no need to have that. Like, what else are we looking at? There's nothing, like, if you notice, there's nothing here that I want to copy the ability of. The difference between this guy and this one is, if you double copy, say, the rooster on the actual rooster, you've already buffed the rooster somehow, we assume. With this guy, it doesn't respond very well. So, like, yeah, but also, no. The peacock. The peacock is not very good. Yeah, I'm putting it at the bottom of C. And the reason is that it's a 1/5. That's not good. 2, its ability is just gain some attack. Sure. I don't care. I will add one caveat, which is, if you, remember duck strats, if you have some ducks, sell some ducks onto a peacock, now it's a 3/8, something like that. That was 3/7. I can do math. Then it's a 3/7. 3/7 is like, it's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. And then you stick a crab behind it. This is one of those builds where you're like, you have a strange amount of power. You might lose, you might win. Alright, penguin. Penguin is something where I like it as the giraffe, but better. You swap it in, and then you swap it out again. You don't keep it around for long. Why? It's wide scaling, for one. And two, like, if the units are level 2 or more, they probably are your primary units. That's why it's at the top of D. But it's also only 1/1. Sure, like, it's okay. Generally, you'll swap it in at the end of a round, let it buff once, and then swap it out again. Or maybe 2 rounds. Like the giraffe, but later. Usually later would push it down, but I see the giraffe less often, or I would put the giraffe in, I think, less often than the penguin. So, the pig. The pig is one of the worst early game units, but it does have a purpose. So my point is, I'm going to put it at the bottom of B, because it is an early game unit, so it gets a big boost. Its ability to be sold for 1 more is deceptively good in builds where that matters. So if you have a dog knocking around, if you have a goat knocking around, if you have a dragon knocking around, it can be pretty good. Otherwise, it's eh. The rabbit. Northern Lion loves the rabbit. I do not love the rabbit. I think the rabbit is one of those, like, I'm not sure if it's a D tier unit or a C tier unit, but I don't like food nearly as much, so we're putting it here. Nope. There we go. Sure, you can stock in a rabbit and then put in some health, and it gives you +1 health a couple of times. And that's not great. Or you can do random selection and get them randomly and get 2 or 3 health among your several units, some of which don't matter at all and you're rotating through. I think that it's bad. It's just not very good. It's something that I think is overestimated highly. So, you know what? We're dropping it back more. I don't like food meta. The dirty rat! Yeah, as it turns out, the rat like, is fun, but the rat is bad, because the dirty rat will not win you anything. Like, generally, it's just trying to get a Surge 4-5 at the start, because you desperately need something to help you. Meh. Alright, so, the Rhino. I love the Rhino. The Rhino is really cool. He's not that good. He is good for knocking over your opponent's stuff. He is early enough where he can be scaled up, right? But his ability doesn't really matter in the same way as the Hippo's doesn't really matter after a point. It's good for knocking over tokens, and sometimes that'll be really helpful. Most of the time it's A. So, he's fine. The Rooster. The Rooster gets one of these, like, it's broken right now, and it shouldn't be broken forever. So I'm gonna put it... yeah, here. Because right now, you can break the Rooster. It's early, you buff its attack, and suddenly, you get 2 kills, generally, with 1 unit, and if you synergize it with a Dodo, you synergize it with the Leopard, or whatever this is, suddenly, you've got a very fearsome board. Look at this. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. I love the Scorpion. Obviously, the Scorpion is at best a counter. So, I'm gonna put it in the bottom of C. It's probably not where it belongs. It probably belongs somewhere in the middle, but I'm not sure. And the reason being is that it is something that says your opponent was not careful. If you put it at the front and your opponent doesn't have melon armor by the time you whip out the Scorpion, right? When you see that happen, you're generally like, yeah, I should have put melon armor on. And sometimes you get super metagamey and you put it like third from the front, and you go, cool, I've got a Scorpion in the middle. It's a cool thing. It's not good. The Seal. You give the Seal food, and the Seal gives random pairs. But here's the thing. You're attempting to scale the Seal and other units, but you could just put it on the unit that you wanted it on. Which is why I'm kind of like, I never pick the Seal up. Because a lot of the time it puts +2/+2 on stuff that I don't want. And you had to buff this. So for a chance of failure, you accept that sometimes it puts the 2/2s on 2 different things that you both wanted. Or that you wanted both of the buffs on. No. Alright. This shark is going to slowly improve. It's going to start in B. It's probably going to keep going. But basically, the benefit of the shark is that you don't buff the shark that much. Like, you just put the shark in. If you have a summon build, you just put the shark in the back. It's a 4/4 when it starts. Oh no, that's not great stats. Yeah, but that wasn't the point. You kill like 30 of your things and suddenly your shark's giant. That's it. That's all you gotta do. I like it because there's no effort into it. Just like the kangaroo, you just put it in. Shrimp Scampi. Shrimp Scampi is one of the best memes. You know where the memes go. The shrimp gives random health. Random health is not good. It is easier to use the random health. Like it, you know what? We're gonna put it here. The random health is easier to deal with than, say, the rabbit. You're right, we're gonna keep doing this. But it's not good. It's generally stuff like, if you get a piggy playing around, right? You can get some random health stacked onto stuff you want. And if you have a dog, then you can do stuff like buy a beaver, then sell the beaver, and you're getting a decent amount of stats flying around. Yeah. Alright. This one's going to be probably a little contentious. And that is the skunk. The skunk is bad, but the skunk goes from bad to amazing when you have it leveled up and in the right formats. So my example for this is sometimes you are in the end game and you've got your 50-50 melon armor at the front and your opponent's got a 50-50 melon armor at the front and they both smack each other until they both die. But your opponent put down a skunk. Dealing 33% of the 50, right? Now, if I remember correctly, it turns it into a 33. I could be wrong. But, let's pretend I'm right for a second. That is not enough to get the kill. They'll just both bump each other. If you have a level 2 skunk, it is enough to get the kill. What that ends up meaning is, if you have a skunk in the back, which is not easy to do, that is level 2, so you put effort into it, you can get one up on your opponent, which can be important. I don't think it's that great, but eh. Why I put it here is, it is something that does nothing, but it's cool as hell. So the fact that it's on tier 3 means at least, right, you can scale it, like, it is early enough, but I don't know. We're gonna leave it there. At the end, we'll probably drop it because I don't like it. Alright, the snail. Snail is middle of B tier. Why is it middle of B tier? You know what? No, it's going up. No, here. Why? Why is that good? Because, generally, a squirrel is... Oh, no, I should put it back. A snail. I know I keep saying that. Alright, we're putting it here. Alright, so, why? Because a snail is bad right up until it's amazing. You see a snail, right, in your shop, and you won the last fight, or you drew. It's nothing. It's minus a slot, it doesn't do anything. You lost the last one, and you see 2 snails, you're about to win your next fight. That snail, very good. I like the snake less than most people. So I'm going to put it at the bottom of B. The point of the snake is basically get a benefit out of attacking. When it shows up, you can stick it behind a crab or something like that, and like it's fine. I really don't think it's that good. It's fine. It's just random damage, right? Like, the problem is that you didn't scale it or anything, so like fine, but meh. The spider. The spider, I can see all 4 of its legs, which makes me like it less. That's not even a joke. I don't find a use for the snail. Or sorry, for the spider. So like we're gonna do that now. Like it's not good. I don't know any reason to run it. It's typically like, yeah, it's a summon. And like it works with the whale. But the whale is overrated and the spider is overrated. The goose! The golden swan! The swan is probably one of my favorite units in the game. It occurs early. It gives you money. And when you scale it up, it gives you more money. First off, I'm greedy. Second off, that money is generally put towards rolls. It can be very helpful to get 3 more rolls to try to find your level 2. Especially early on when you go, hey, it's round 3. Stick a dog, stick a swan. Why? Because the next round, if you get your 3rd dog, suddenly you're starting to gas up. And then the extra gold you put towards swapping things. Play a beaver, sell a beaver. Play a pig, sell a pig. And it's one of those, like, because you have extra gas, it's very good. I don't know what this unit is. I thought it was this unit. So this unit's going here, and this unit's going there. I don't know what you are. The turkey. The turkey is essential in all of the spawn builds. It gets to be the top of the C tier, because it's good for the tiers. It's the center of this. It's Turkey Day, but it's still not good. Oh my goodness, Kadaris, you should probably look at the Northern Lion one, the one that's actually good, but you're free to look at this. Alright, the lovely turtle. Turtle is way better than anyone gives it credit for, and people already give it a lot of credit. Why? Because, first off, early turtle, stick it somewhere. It does whatever it does and gives melon armor. But if you pill a turtle on, like, turn 3, no one expects the melon armor. That's crazy early. And I got a 10-0. I got a 10-game win streak, no losses. That is very good. And I got it off of fish with melon armor. On turn 3. I believe it was turn 3. Anyway, so now we have the camel. The camel. The camel's sole refining benefit is the fact that it occurs early. It is much worse than people give it credit for. So I'm going to put it at the top of D. It occurs early. It responds somewhat well to buffs. It is really not worth your time. That's true. Hold on. He's a cutie. Alright, the whale. The whale is not good. Everybody loved the whale. I love the whale. The whale is not good. The whale synergizes with the spider, the turtle, and the ram? Anything that occurs later than that, it's pretty much bad. It's bad. It's just not good. It's not good. The worm. I love the worm. The worm requires more effort to scale than I would prefer. So it's going to go to the bottom of C. The reason being is pretty much, if you can scale the worm, it's the same as everything else, right? You can scale it. But there are multiple ways to scale things, and it doesn't occur early enough to make it easy. It's early enough to scale it, so like I would never say nerf it a tier, but it's one of those, I'm never impressed to see the worm. And sometimes you'll see someone pop off with it, and you're like, good, you put in the effort and it paid off. But most of the time, you can scale anything as long as you just, like, get it early.